Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be our monthly ASIC pricing update video. This is going to be for October 2024. Today is Halloween, and in this series what we do, essentially we are kind of going through different ASICs and looking for price fluctuations, specifically more so than anything looking for those deals. Okay, so we kind of go through the majority of them. Not going to go through every single one, but we're going to look for those fluctuations and others that we are kind of looking to fluctuate, right? And that's going to be a big portion of this video. Going to be a relatively short one, not a whole lot going on, so let's get right to it, okay? That sounds good, guys. Stay tuned. Let's get right in this thing. So we'll start off by looking at the current market, and things were insanely bullish just about a day ago. We were within 1% of breaking all-time high. We got rejected. We're currently back at 69.95. BTC is doing amazing. A lot of the alts, though, are kind of struggling. We're at the point right now where BTC dominance is doing extremely well. It did hit 60%, although it was briefly. Chances are it may hit it again because alts are bleeding again quite drastically. A lot of it is just uncertainty, right? The election is literally days away. We're waiting. We're going to get a Donald J. Pump, or we're going to get a Comrade Dump. We're going to have to wait and see what happens there, especially short term. So things are going to be very volatile. There's going to be a lot of manipulation, especially if Trump does succeed, just because everybody's going to get mega bullish. But guess what? Because of that, the whales are going to be playing. So do not be surprised to see a mega pump and then a mega dump right after, and then potentially a mega pump right after also, right? It's going to be a lot of fluctuations. So if you're trading this, tread carefully. There's going to be a lot of crap going on, but just depending on who wins, there's going to be long-term ramifications. To each their own on their opinion as to what's going to happen. To me, regardless of who wins, it's going to be bullish regardless long-term. Where it's going to affect things more is more in the short-term, definitely. Okay, so it's kind of to each their own on that whole thing. But as far as price goes, things are still looking good. Again, it's just uncertainty, just waiting for this election. Okay. Now, on the mining profitability front, this is where things have been kind of changing, right? There's a newcomer. This is the first time in a very long time that we did not have either a Kaspa ASIC or an Lithium ASIC or Radiant just briefly being the most profitable miner on the list. Although, when they're pre-orders, they haven't even hit the market yet. We know that the prices or the profitability numbers are essentially fake, but in this case, these are all miners that are out, they're in hand, they're not theoreticals, and the current winner right now is the L9, a Scrypt ASIC, right? Kind of a turn of events, just because currently Doge has been on a very nice little run, and actually that's going to be the focus of today's video. Okay, so you can see the L9 is number one. A01 Pro coming at 28 bucks. And for the rest, for the most part, it's not looking too hot, right? As we know, everything is kind of on a little dump ski right now. So kind of to each their own. So as far as looking for deals, this is kind of what we want to see. We want to see this kind of sustain. Realistically, everybody's realistically waiting till after the elections to really decide what's going on, right? So the current one I've been kind of eyeing, especially because of this Doge pump, are these Scrypt ASICs. And it's very interesting because they actually have not jumped a whole lot, right? So we'll get into it here in a second. But let's start off with the first one. And that is with the Kaspa ASICs. Surprisingly, have not moved. Specifically the Bitmains, they've literally been fluctuating between 50 to 100 bucks. That's it. They've been going up and down. So far, pretty much staying at this point. For example, Nhash's price on the KS5, the 20 terahash is $24.49 shipped. The one that did have a reduction recently, we didn't even make a video of it because in reality it still doesn't matter, is the KS5L, the iceriver unit. Reason I'm saying it doesn't matter is because at the end of the day, even at that price point, even if it goes down to $9.99 shipped, it just makes more sense to go with the Bitmain unit. Okay, because it's not that much of a price difference. It's even at this point, at this $1,300 price point, it just definitely all sense. It makes more day to go with the unit that's twice as efficient and go with the Bitmain unit. Okay, so realistically, that's why, at least with this generation of hardware, it's kind of bottomed out, right? At this point, again, even if that KS5L goes down to sub 1,000, 900, 800 bucks, it's so cheap that I would just rather go with the Bitmain unit. Okay, it's more durable, it's more efficient, The biggest thing is efficiency, especially when things are getting squirrely. If this kind of price action sustains for a little while, efficiency is king here because that's what's going to keep you plugged in and be at least break even or profitable or better. Okay, because at the end of the day, that's can be a potential difference maker, especially here as things just get more and more competitive. At least for now, while Kaspa's price is down, which has been pretty significantly down, right? A lot of bearish sentiment. So it did hit 10 cents. It was down to 10.5, 10.6. And it's been kind of hovering in this range, right? It's dropped before with different things that happened. It like flash crashed for like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, somewhere around there. It's been hovering in this range now for well over a day. Okay, so pretty nuts there. Did not expect it to really for it to get that low again. My target price would be for it to go under 10 cents. Realistically, it's an excellent price here. And because of this price dump currently, honestly, it doesn't even make sense to get any of these guys. Even at these price points, just with Kaspa's price being down here, right? Realistically, it would make sense to buy the coin or potentially double dip, buy the coin and potentially buy the ASIC. But right now, if you are a Kaspa holder, depending on your viewpoints, depending on your portfolio, obviously for me, again, I'm very, not bearish, but I'm very cautious, I guess you can say, with my price predictions. I still have Kaspa at 50 cents. Hopefully it breaks well beyond that, potentially up to $1, but that's just where my mind frame is at. But at the end of the day right now, at least with the big boys, it is kind of different with the smaller guys. You know, if you want to get exposure, the little, we'll do another video covering those guys here. But as far as the big ASICs go, it's just the Bitmain or nothing, right? So now let's get into the one interesting one, and it's with the Dogecoin ASICs. And you can see here, again, we're at 10, 11 cents the beginning of this month, and currently dipped down, right? We're nearing damn near 20 cents. We're at like the 18-cent range, currently down to 16 cents. So nice little pump overall. Okay, so what we're curious about here is that so far have not seen any price increases. Prices were kind of actually on their way down. One that did have a pretty good drop for new units was the L7. Currently, they have the cheaper, if you go down to the lowest model, the 8.8 at 4,100 shipped, right? So it did drop about 10%. So something interesting there. Would I necessarily get one of these guys? Me personally, no. Again, if I'm buying an ASIC, it's going to be latest and greatest just because I want it to last the longest, especially right now with these prices of the L9s. Okay, we'll get to that here in a second. If anything, maybe if you can get a cheap L7, if you can get one like sub 3K, it could make sense. But even used, they're going for like 3 to 4K, right? So if you are in the market for one for whatever reason, it would 100% make more sense to just buy when you buy one of the lower tier units, right? It makes no sense to pay the same price for a unit that's probably well over 2 years old, okay? But again, realistically, you're going to want to look for deals if there are any. But again, with this pump, that's kind of getting rid of any of that. Realistically, the best time to look for used units is when sentiment is extremely low. A lot of the times you can lowball, make a lowball offer, potentially get an approval there. Now for the L9. So now that we are at the end of October, basically in November, I'm going to be curious to see what happens to the spot price, which currently they don't even have it listed. They just have the future batches now. Okay, so this is where it is indeed going to get quite interesting just because currently the batch is 83.49 for the November batch. But again, the biggest thing to factor now is that now we're only 2 months away from January. Okay, so this guy massively more appealing just because of that price point. They do now have the 16 and 17 gigahash model listed. I have seen vendors begin to list a 15 gigahash model also, so that may be coming down the pipeline as well. But again, the January batch is $6,600 shipped. Again, now it's 2 months away. And initially, when these things dropped like 3 or 4 months ago, where it was going to be a 4 or 5 month wait, not very appealing. Now we're this late in the game. It's only 2 months away. Not bad. I'm curious to see what the spot prices will be. Who's going to be the first to list spot? Because although, yes, it's the November batch, typically at the earliest, maybe middle of this month it'll begin to ship, but most likely somewhere towards the end, especially with this little pump. So we're eyeing here to see what they do with these prices. Again, I'm extremely surprised we haven't seen a decent little increase in the prices here. Not even like a little 10% increase just to kind of tease things. So far, they've remained flat. I think a lot of these guys are also waiting to see what happens with the election because it's going to cause extreme volatility. Again, very likely if Trump wins, I would expect a very sharp pump, especially that day. It'll potentially retrace, or it may just pump for quite a while. If the other opposing side wins, expect the opposite. Okay, it's at least initially maybe quite bearish. So I think people are just really waiting for the results there, because again, we are so close before they decide to move up or down. Realistically, do I see it going down? Probably not, especially with this price action. Okay, so definitely keeping my eyes peeled here, because if anything, this is definitely, as we've been saying for the past months and months and months and months, some of the most appealing currently are the Scrypt ASICs, just because of longevity purposes. Right now, at this point, ideally what I'd be looking at personally is just things that can carry you beyond this potential bull market, right? So like Scrypt ASICs, compared with the L7, they did hold up extremely well throughout the bear market. Okay, so that's why this is one that would be on the radar for me. Any of the efficient ASICs, that's going to kind of be something more that I'm going to be looking into more than anything. It's just things to carry me beyond this 12 months. Because again, you don't want to get something now. Because typically, again, ASIC is what? More of a long-term play. We're now nearing November 2024. If we go by the cycles, when is the peak? About 12 months away. Okay, could it be sooner? Could it be a little bit later? Sure, but at this point, again, if you're having a 2-year plan with this ASIC and you know the peak is going to be within 12 months, you kind of have to look for things going beyond that cycle. So that's why for me, kind of the time to start Kaspa ASIC mining is kind of behind us, right? Realistically, the game is more for now people who are already in and they're just trying to increase that efficiency and just trying to continue growing. Okay, so like for me, although the KS5, as crazy as it sounds, could still be on the radar for me. Am I realistically eyeing it now? Not really. Would I though? Would I consider it? Yes, just because of my specific situation, just to continue to increase that efficiency and continue to grow from there. Would I recommend it if you're starting from scratch though? No, right? So kind of to each your own. A lot of risk factors there. We've mentioned over and over, just mainly the threat of a new miner, etc., etc. Do your own research there, but let's continue on. This is another one we've been eyeing just to see if they do anything. So far, they have not done a damn thing. Prices are still there. Again, they're going to have to wait to see what Bitmain does with stock prices. Are the stock prices going to go down to this November batch price? Or as soon as they get confirmation of shipping of the November batch, is the whatever is allocated for spot, is it going to be like 10K? Right? So I think they're kind of waiting. If they just decide to release it at this price, release it at this 83.49 price, and that's what it is spot and for the pre-order batches, then expect them to finally lower it. But I think they're kind of also anticipating the same thing, that yes, for them to honor whatever pre-orders at this price and for spot allocations to be 9,500 or something of that sort, right? So gonna have to play the game there, see what's going on there. The DG1, also the same price, hasn't fluctuated. They did list the new Volk miner. And again, stats are pretty impressive, but at this price point, it doesn't make any sense, right? Why would you go with this no-name manufacturer, unproven, although we did do that little review on them, and it turns out we do know who they are, and they don't have the best track record. Okay, so because of that, doesn't make any sense. All day, the L9 and then the DG1 and then maybe of this thing if it was like half the price, right? Does not make any sense for it to be priced at the same price point as the more proven units. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on it to see what the prices do, just because I don't anticipate them selling extremely well, at least on the retail front at these prices. Okay, so we'll see what they do in the future. At least for now, if Doge keeps pumping, then what do you think is going to happen with these guys? And then that's when this guy could be more appealing. Realistically, for me, though, considering the track record, it'd be something I'd have to test. Again, they can send me one and I can test it, and we can go that route. But for me to drop 8K, absolutely not. Let's go on to the next one. And this was a big drop for any guys who saw that video we did on the recent Bitmain releases, the S19k Pro did drop pretty significantly. There is a MOQ specific with Nhash. Check with your favorite reseller. A lot of them still haven't updated the price. So like I checked a few of the others, but they still had the previous like $1,500 price. So it is down to $9.99. If you buy direct from Bitmain, it's $6 a terahash, no coupons, but they get you pretty good on the damn shipping. It's like damn near $400, so it's like over $1,000 anyway. So I would expect the other resellers to eventually list theirs and it hopefully be around this price for a single unit, right? Again, the downfall here, they have it listed as 3, it may be 5 though. In the description, they have an MOQ of 5 actually. Okay, but this was a pretty steep drop. This is one I honestly did not think would hit under a K, but because of where we're on the market, this is where it's at. So far, this is the only one that has kind of fell down a bit. I've been kind of ideally waiting for more of the newer units. It's crazy to say, but the S21 is now 3 gens behind, right? Because we had the S21, 21 Pro, 21 XP, right? So the 21 still hasn't really dropped. Neither has the 21 Pro, and the 21 XP is shipping now. Okay, and so far none of those have really dropped at all, which is quite surprising considering the profitability and the difficulty is increasing because of Bitcoin's price going up already, right? So it's a very, very tricky game. It is something I'll follow the prices with, but at least for me, current climate, definitely a no-go. Let's continue down. Now this guy, whew, look how fast it dropped. It's down to 26.49 for that Dragon Ball A11. Absolute trash of a company also. Some could say well-deserved, but it is what it is. Hopefully none of you guys bought this thing. Hopefully you guys kind of heeded the warnings because we all saw it coming extremely quick, although everybody was trying to sell them for like 11, 12K, and then 10K, 9K, 8K, 7K, and then down to 26.49, and in my opinion, still trash, right? So, to each your own. Hopefully none of you guys bought this thing, but it's just incredible to see it continue drop like that. Next, we talked about it briefly, the KS5L and the KS5M. Again, to me, irrelevant. If you're going to go with a bigger unit, go with the Bitmain unit, right? Simple as that. The Jazz Miner, this one just went up $100. It went down to $15.49. It's currently at $16.49 for the 1950. Again, the advantage with this guy is the 8 gigs of RAM versus the X16QE, which is cheaper pretty significantly. This one does have an MOQ though. You got to buy 2 of them. It's a 1650, but also has less RAM and kind of limits what you're able to mine in a sense. Currently, it's ETHW, which by the way has been kind of pumping. Weirdly enough, I think it's still probably the most profitable. So unfortunately, you cannot mine it with these guys. Okay, so if that thing does take off, it's going to be this. And I'm sure there's going to be other coins as well, right? Remember, this algorithm, a lot of coins tend to come. That could be a way to differentiate because, again, you're also limited with some of the other units with the that are also ETH hash ASICs. Okay, so something to keep in mind there. They did finally give a confirmation in a tweet. Shout out to, I think it was Seb who asked them. And they did say it'll come out 2025 for the X44Q. No date. They didn't say Q1 or Q2. I would hope Q1, but they did confirm 2025. So definitely not within these next 2 months. So that's potentially why these prices have finally been dropping so aggressively. Okay. The only other thing to note, not really a deal because it's been at this price. Profitability goes up and down as the price goes up and down, but there is a new model of the K7. So surprisingly, it's not listed on the Bitmain site yet, but I have seen quite a few vendors list a 66 terahash model, which is something new. Currently, this guy is between $26.99, under 3K essentially, right? So this is one that the profitability goes all over the place just because CKB has been pretty volatile. It's been pumping and not necessarily dumping. It did dump for a little bit actually, and then recently, as of like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, it did go up quite a bit, and now it's doing okay. It's nothing crazy. It's just been consistent though, right? This is one to just mine and hodl, and it's been doing its thing, but just interesting that there is a new unit similar to like the KA3, but instead of releasing a refresh like a Pro model, they just released a unit with a few more chips in it, right? Which even then it's went from 63.5 to 66, so not even that big of a jump, which is kind of weird. But we saw a similar thing with the KA3 as well, where it jumped to that 170 173, 170 something terahash unit, which is kind of crazy because, again, both of those guys, it's going on, it's well over a year and a half. I think February, it'll be 2 years. February and March. I think one of them came in February, the other one in March. So looks like we're going to get 2 years out of both of those guys, right? Which is pretty, especially considering the climate, considering typically the life cycle seems to be like 3 to 6 months right now. Getting 2 years out of a unit, it's been extremely solid, right? So we'll see. I'm not going to be surprised to see a K9 model or K5 model come out here in the next few months. But so far, they did the damn thing. They served their purpose. We lucked out in that sense. I'm going to keep it going. Right, so for the most part, price-wise, guys, not a whole lot of fluctuations. We are just kind of keeping an eye on the price of those Scrypt ASICs because, again, we've been extremely surprised there has not been an increase because, again, typically as soon as there's a slight pump, that same day, usually it's up 5-10%, something. And so far it's been a few days and it's been nothing. Again, most likely I think they're just waiting for the election results just because they know it's going to be a lot of volatility. We'll see. I think a lot of people also are just extremely hesitant right now, right? It's a very tough time to buy an ASIC, right? Today's Halloween, but probably the scariest damn thing right now is buying a freaking ASIC in this climate right now, right? There's so much paranoia. It's like, oh, is there another model coming? Is there a 50% price coming next week? Like, it's very, very tumultuous time. It's very crazy. It is what it is. We're nearing the end of this thing. It's just crazy to see so many people giving up this close to the end. It is what it is, though. People are placing their bets. People are doing the damn thing. I'm just going to keep following these things, right? So let me know in the comments, guys. What do you guys think? Are you guys over with ASICs? Is it the end game for you? For me, like me personally, I'll make a video talking a little bit more in depth about my vision going forward. But let me know, guys. Let me know in the comments. Did you guys snag anything? I know a lot of people have been into the Scrypt ASICs and really eyeing those things. Let me know in the comments, guys. What do you guys think? Especially now that we're so close, essentially, in the November batch, right? Hopefully that'll start shipping in the next few weeks for any guys who order. And then the January batch being only 2 months away now, right? It makes it extremely enticing. I'm not going to front. But let me know in the comments, guys. What do you guys think? Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I am out.